Let's talk about the how, where, and why of hiring SEO strategists. So this question comes in from Gabriel Ortiz inside of the Blueprint Training Slack community. And he wants to know where you can find them and what he should put inside of the job description. So before we get into that, there's a few things that we need to cover. Number one, you need to make sure if you're hiring somebody that you have all the details of what you need from them, the expectations from them, all clearly laid out and documented. That means you need to take the time to sit down and write it out. Internally, we like to use what's called a 30, 60, 90-day plan. And what we do within that plan is we lay out the expectations in terms of where we expect them to be at the end of each of those days, 30, 60, 90, and then what we're gonna do in terms of how we're gonna help them to achieve that and progress throughout our organization internally. So that's gonna be things like trainings, maybe some articles or books that they need to read, maybe some templates or workbooks or client deliverables that we want them to fill out. And then we'll sit down and have meetings with them to make sure. So that's important because I see this in the SEO community a lot, is that you want to get work off your plate, and I get it, but then you hire somebody who's maybe unqualified or you didn't give them the right description, and you churn through people nonstop, and it becomes this hamster wheel of people where you're constantly trying to hire and train, and you're just leaving holes inside of your agency. And it's really hard, and it becomes this incredibly difficult business to want to manage. So you have to have that stuff laid out first. It's really, really important. 30, 60, 90-day plans before you even start to think about where do I hire them? Should I use Upwork, LinkedIn, anything like that? So once you have that laid out, what I like to do is then take that and then put it into ChatGPT and ask it to turn it into a job description, because you're going to have all the details that you need, all the expectations, and ChatGPT within 5 seconds can take that and turn it into a job description. So now you've got two core building blocks in terms of bringing somebody into your organization and being able to train them and communicate with them properly. So personally, I like to use Upwork and LinkedIn. Now for Upwork, it's going to be a little bit more for project-based work or for people that are offshore in certain parts of the world that are coming, to do one specific thing. So for example, like if we're hiring maybe a content writer, or if we're hiring like a link outreach specialist, somebody who's doing one specific task, one specific sub part of a role that we just want to dump on top of them, then we'll use Upwork. I like Upwork because one, it's got a huge hiring database of people that are inside of it, and two, because it tracks their time automatically. So from a payroll point of view, it's much easier, and also tax and accounting season makes it easier too, because everything's paid through that platform. It's paid as an expense. We don't have to worry about like W-2s or anything like that. It's very simple to handle from a tax and accounting point of view. Now, if it's going to be somebody who's going to be a little bit more full-time, meaning working just for us or at least half-time for us, and I like to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs is an incredible hiring platform. It's pretty much where we do all of our full-time hiring from if they don't come in as a referral. So on LinkedIn, you just post a job and then make sure to pay to boost it, because you're going to get far more applications. And then the final piece of this is just making sure that you're interviewing them properly. Make sure that you're having face-to-face Zoom calls with them, and not just one, have a couple of them, right? The way that we do our hiring process internally is I actually do the first call. So I'll jump on and have a 15 to 30 minute call, just call it like a vibe check, if you will, just to kind of check the vibe to see what's their energy like, what's their personality like, do I feel like they would be a fit with our team internally? What are their goals? What are they looking to get from this position before we really talk about the technical side of things? And of course, I'll just kind of grill them a little bit about their experience, not intensely, but just have a conversation with them and see where they're at, see if they can be conversational about it, see if this is something that comes second nature to them, or if this is something that they just applied for because they're looking for income and they had to study to do this type of stuff. So I'll handle that. And then the second call is with Caesar, our COO, who will put them through more of a skills type interview where he'll ask them the specifics of what we need for the role. So if it's like an SEO strategist role, he'll ask them about canonical tags. He'll ask them about content. He'll ask them about link building. He'll ask them a series of questions and put them through a bit of a skills test. And then if it's like a full-time role inside of the agency, we'll usually give them like a template or a deliverable to fill out. So like, hey, we have this client, they're a personal injury attorney in Miami. Can you do some keyword research and then come back and let's have a call and you can walk me through your thought process on it. So it's usually a 2 or 3 call process that we go through. It's really, really, really important to do that, because man, if you're just constantly trying to look for people and you're churning people out, it's never about them, it's usually about you. I say this a lot to people inside the Blueprint Training community, because finding people is hard, especially when we talk about digital businesses where you don't meet them in person, you don't have that level of accountability. And also the comp plans, we're usually not giving them full-time benefits or full-time salaries off the bat. It's usually more of a 1099 contractor role to start. So it's much easier for them to flake and right off into the night without just ghosting on you. It's happened to us before too. And that's usually not about them, it's usually about you. It usually means that you didn't provide the proper training environment, you didn't provide the proper ecosystem, the support, you didn't show them how they're gonna be a part of your organization going forward. So it's really on you to make sure that you're doing your due diligence before you bring somebody in. You're not just sporadically hiring them off of a cold DM that they sent you. So in terms of the, let's see, in this question here too. So most success, again, I like Upwork and LinkedIn, like I just said. Listing as a responsibilities, that's up to you, right? I talked about that, making sure you sit down before you do all this and just mapping out what is it that you need to get done, and then asking ChatGPT to help you fill it in. What's the pay range? So pay range, again, it's gonna depend on what you're doing. So if it's a part-time role like content writer, we like to pay per word. If it's a part-time role like project manager, we'll usually do, depending on how much time they can give us, depending on their experience. Really just depends. I hate to give you that answer, but it really just depends. Depends on where they are in the world. If they're in the US, they're probably gonna want 2 to 3 to 4x what you'd be paying in other parts of the world. But in the US, you're gonna get the communication, you're gonna get the time zone, you're gonna get the face-to-face that you're probably not gonna get with other parts of the world. So you have to kind of ask yourself, what are you willing to pay to fulfill the role that you need? And that's why it's so important to make sure you map it out ahead of time, to make sure that you're really documenting exactly what you need. That includes communication, that includes the hours that they're gonna be online, that includes if they're gonna be on face-to-face Zoom calls. Like, you need to make sure you put that inside of this, because that's gonna dictate where you find the person. It's gonna dictate how much you pay the person, right? Because like I said, people in the US are just gonna charge more because it's expensive hell to live in this country. So pay range, again, it could be $1,500 a month, it could be $10,000 a month. We have people inside of our business that we're paying all within that range. It really just depends. And then he asks, is SEO and SEO strategist and SEO manager the same thing? That's up to you. It's your business. You tell me. How are you defining your roles? For us internally, we just have one role. It's called the SEO strategist. We have SEO strategist, content strategist, paid strategist. Those are the only 3 roles that we really have inside the business. The SEO strategist, because of the use of AI, I've been talking about this a lot in other videos, we're really rolling up content, links. We're trying to just get it into one role. So SEO strategist is an all-encompassing term for us. Now, if you have 20, 30, 40, 50 employees, then you're probably gonna wanna add management layer on top of them. We don't. We have 10 full-time people, and we're looking to scale a lot more using technology and AI and grow our client accounts, as opposed to taking on 500 client accounts. We wanna sit in that 50 to 100 client account range, and not have to staff up with 1 million people. So that's us. That's how I wanna run my business. You need to define these things for yourself. It's important that you understand what you want from your business, and that's gonna matriculate into how you define your role. So, as always, guys, if you want to ask questions, this is for Blueprint Training members only. It's only $199 to join. You get access to trainings, templates, tools, live sessions, and of course, our Slack channel where you can ask me questions directly. So if not, hit the link below, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, Ryan here. Hope you liked that video. If you want more, check out these 2 videos right here on this screen.